So, right now, we're going to look at visa policies regarding Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and an overview of what these countries are doing that are unique to the previous countries that I was discussing in the previous modules. So, this presentation examines the current skilled worker shortages that Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are experiencing and how these shortages are shaping each country's visa policies. It covers the scope of labor market gaps, government recruitment efforts, the presence or absence of digital nomad visas, and the available pathways for work and retirement migration. It also explains why these nations focus more on long term skilled migration rather than a formal digital nomad program. So, the global context is that these three nations are experiencing skilled worker shortages. And so they have revamped their policies to fill this gap. All three nations are experiencing shortages specifically in healthcare, IT, trades, STEM trades, construction, and logistics. And so the shortages are, of course, affecting national productivity and economic growth. And so the government's visa process prioritize attracting skilled workers with their visa programs. The recruitment tools that they use are employer sponsorship, fast track visas, and residency incentives. So if we look at Canada, 77% of businesses report difficulty finding qualified workers. So there's about 700,000 vacancies nationwide. Again, the high demand sectors, care IT, STEMs, logistics, trades, meaning. So the express entry visa process that Canada has draws in 2025 prioritizes these in-demand occupations and Canadians, of course, with work experience. What's really effective about these policies is that there's low unemployment to vacancy ratio. Some provinces are at a one-to-one job match. In terms of healthcare, registered nurse vacancies have soared to almost 30,000 vacancies as of early of 2023, making it an occupation with the highest shortages in Canada. Technology, IT, persistent low unemployment, coupled with growing demand for software engineers, data analysts, cybersecurity, and advanced IT professionals. In terms of the skilled trades and construction, the STEM fields, from electricians and welders to heavy equipment mechanics, provinces like Alberta, Ontario, and British Columbia are seeing deep shortages. Mining and energy employers are struggling to recruit skilled trades for oil sands, refineries, and new industrial projects, with plans to hire foreign workers for thousands of jobs. Again, if we look at the unemployment to job vacancy is at a historic low. Historically, fewer than two unemployed individuals for every job vacancy, with Quebec and British Columbia at around 1 to 1. The provinces most affected are Quebec, Ontario, British Columbia, face especially high demand in the aforementioned fields. And so, in terms of forecasting, this nation predicts a worsening shortfall up to 700,000 workers in trades retiring in 2028, amplifying pressure on labor supplies. So, in terms of the recruitment strategies and immigration incentives, so at the federal level, the national level, there's express entry draws in 2025, prioritizing candidates with in-demand skills and Canadian experience, aligning immigration selections with long-term labor needs. The provincial nominee program, the provinces tailor streams to attract foreign talent in high demand sectors. So at a national level, there is heavy recruitment and also at a provincial level. So, in terms of Canada's, the government led immigration streams, province nominee programs, and employer specific recruitment policies are all working together to target skilled labor shortages. And so, Canada continues on year recruitment of thousands of foreign workers. How can you apply or benefit? Check if your occupation is one of the provincial nominee in demand list or express entry eligible list. Explore dual intent job offers from Canadian employers to fast track both temporary work and prioritize immigration pathways aligned with sectors facing acute shortages. So if you fall into one of these categories, and if you're living in the US, this may be an attractive option for you. I will include the information in the slides. So now we'll turn to Australia. Australia as well is experiencing severe skill shortages. Australia is grappling with acute skills gaps in multiple sectors. In the trades, IT, electricians, even hospitality is starved of local labor, with employers turning to overseas staffing due to high absenteeism and low commitment among domestic workers. And so, in response, on a national level, Australia has rolled out a what's called a designated area migration agreement, DAMA, easing skilled worker sponsorship and considering systemic forces to recognize overseas qualification more efficiently. On a national level, they have created a pipeline to recruit foreign workers. And so employers are actively offering visa sponsorship to recruit foreign skilled professionals. So New Zealand is also experiencing a skilled worker shortage, and policies are implemented in order to roll out and attract immigration. So again, the similar trades are experiencing skilled worker shortage: healthcare, technology, IT, construction. And so on a federal level, New Zealand has rolled out policies to attract skilled laborers through their federal programs. So as we see what these countries are doing in terms of active recruitment, you may be wondering, well, is there a digital nomad scheme? No, these countries have not instituted a digital nomad schemes because they already had embedded in their policies something similar to support foreign workers, remote workers. In terms of Canada, remote work for foreign employees was allowed. They already had a visa type for what's considered like foreign workers. So remote work for foreign employers allowed up to 6 months on the visitor visa. And then there were work visas, which were employer specific permits, temporary foreign worker permits, and express entry. So you may be wondering, is there a digital nomad program for these three countries? No, there is no bona fide digital nomad program as you see rolled out for the other nations that I discussed in the previous sides. The reason for that is that remote work was already allowed under existing visitor or worker holiday programs. Right now, these nations are focused on skilled migration to fill their domestic labor shortages. Digital nomads contribute less to the tax base than local workforce, as well as there's housing shortages and infrastructure strain concern, as well as complexity regarding taxation. And so their focus is more on recruiting long-term workers to fill their labor shortages than digital nomads, which may be more transient. So these nations are looking at long-term filling their employment gaps for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. And so their immigration policy is used for long-term nation building, not short-term tourism, which essentially is how digital nomad visas work. I'm going to create a table with the programs and the links if you're interested in any of these countries' tracks to permanent residency and being part of their national workforce. As you could see, these nations are handling their immigration very differently than other nations. Neither one is good nor bad, but it's just to offer you options if you're considering about moving abroad and you have one of the listed professions, it may be an attractive option for you, especially if you are licensed, if you're a licensed doctor, a licensed nurse, or even a engineer of some sort, and you're wondering how to convert your qualifications or your credentials over into a foreign countries. A lot of these three countries particularly have set up tracks, especially for doctors and nurses, to have reciprocity with regards to their licensing, making it a fast track to immigrate as well as find employment.